Hey, what's good, everyone? Welcome to our second investment research. Before we start, we want to let you know that it's not that we don't want to deliver our content in Indonesian, but we don't want words or context to get lost in translation. So we feel that our content quality is best delivered in English. There's a lot to cover today, so let's get right to it. As always, this is not an investment advice. Always do your own research before you start investing. Alright, so our October stock of the month is Prodia Widyahusada with a ticker PRDA. Prodia provides private clinical laboratory services. The company also offers lab and panel test services and other diagnostic support services. Prodia went IPO in December 2016 and the price has gone down 48.4% since then. I think Prodia's business model is very simple. They own clinical labs where they examine your body or genes. They take a urine or blood sample and they essentially check for a comprehensive list of diseases such as heart disease, kidney, pregnancy risk, cancer, etc. So Protea divides its customer segments into 4 segments. The first one is walk-in customers, where individuals literally enter the lab, go to front desk, fill out a form, and they will be admitted. Second one is through doctor referrals. And this is kind of self-explanatory, but if you go see a doctor at a clinic or hospital, and he or she requests you to get a checkup at an outside facility such as Prodia. Third one is third-party reference, and the difference here is that instead of doctors, your referrals will be institutional, so such as like other labs, hospital or clinics who wish to do a lab examination at Prodia's facilities. A fourth one is corporate clients. This segment consists of enterprise, private and state-owned, who wants to serve their employees to do a medical checkup to comply with the prevailing laws and regulations. So if you look at Prodia's financial performance, from 2016 to 2019, revenue has grown at 9% to reach 1.7 trillion rupiah. One thing to note here is all its 4 customer segments grew every year, with external referral segment increasing the most at about 18.1%. Another thing to note here is EBITDA has been growing at 22%, and in 2019, they produced a staggering free cash flow of 260 billion or 50% of revenue. If you look at their income statement and delve deeper into their profitability segment, you'll notice 3 things. Cost of goods and services have decreased by 3 percentage points since 2015. And second, operational expenses have decreased by 3 percentage points. So now you can understand that while the revenue increased, their expenses have also decreased, thus driving higher profitability. And we notice this incremental improvements in their gross margin and EBIT. We have 5 main reasons to buy Prodia. First reason is macroeconomic factors. If you've been following us, you'll notice that we love to start our analysis by looking at the market size. The remaining 4 reasons are micro and are related to the company itself, such as strong branding, extensive lab network, economies of scale, and product offerings. After doing our valuation, we believe that Prodia's implied value is about 3,400 rupiah or about 26% upside. I will show you why. So we know that Prodia operates clinical labs and conducts tests. Then if you look at Indonesia's healthcare spending to get a sense of a macro trend, our research shows that Indonesia's healthcare spend is poised to grow at 18% until 2024, reaching 1,300 trillion rupiah. So what drives this increasing market trend? Well, first of all, increasing disposable income to drive private spending. Well, this makes sense, right? Because as Indonesians' middle class are rising and the number of households with income over, say, 10,000 US dollars are rising, people have more money to spend on things. And this is supported by the increasing consumer spending data over the last 10 years. I'd also like to add one interesting here is that Indonesia's healthcare spend as a percentage of GDP is increasing. So again, the data points to the fact that people are spending more money on healthcare. Second, why are people spending more on healthcare? Well, urbanization and an increase of lifestyle-related diseases such as cancer and diabetes are causing an increase in health awareness among consumers. Third, if you've been following the news, you'll know that the government's current health development objectives aim to increase communities' well-being to the highest level possible so everyone can lead healthy and productive lives. Through BPJS or universal health coverage, Indonesia is making healthcare more affordable for all its citizens, especially the vulnerable and the poor, by subsidizing hospital visits. The government encourages companies and their employees to also take part in the program. In 2017, 70% of population are enrolled in the program, and in 2019, 84% are enrolled. So, as more Indonesians use more BPJS to access health services, the healthcare industry overall will benefit. If you break down healthcare market even further, The clinical lab market segment, a segment which Protea operates in, is also expected to grow at 10% until 2024, reaching a total of 53 trillion rupiah. Let's go a little bit deeper inside the clinical lab market. The clinical lab market is divided into a public and private market. Within the private market, you have clinics that cater general needs of the population, mostly preventive or routine checkups. Then in hospitals, you have more specialized services. And finally, you have private independent labs that are not tied to one hospital or physicians. And this is the market that Protea operates in. Private independent labs market size is expected to grow at 10.8% until 2024. So there are 4 key market drivers. First one is Indonesia has a poor facilities to patient ratio, which means that there are increasing demand for more facilities to drive down the ratio, so more people have access to health services. And second, the middle class is growing, which means that as urbanization accelerates, people are adopting a more sedentary lifestyle. This is pushing obesity rates and cases of diseases such as diabetes upward. Which leads to my next point, right? As there's more incidents of diseases, people are getting to be more aware of preventive healthcare attitude. And fourth, as diseases get more complicated, there's an introduction of new specialized tests. So all these 4 things that I mentioned will lead to increased demand in private independent labs market. In the private clinical lab industry, where your relationship with patients are critical to the business, Protea has the strongest brand recognition when compared to its competitors. It won the top branding awards in its industry for the last 5 years, and this award takes into account top-of-mind awareness, the top-of-mind use, and future invention. Next, Protea derives revenues from its clinical labs. And compared to its competitors, Protea's network is 6 to 7 times larger than its closest competitor. And by looking at its network, Protea is the market leader in terms of the number of outlets which it operates. And if we look at Protea's revenue by region, majority of Protea's sales are from its labs in key urban areas, such as like Jakarta and other cities on Java Island. So what this means is people in urban areas are more likely to have the means to spend money on healthcare. Protea also stated that one of its growth strategy is to expand new outlets. And we think that there is a massive opportunity in the outer islands. At a debt equity of 2.9%, Protea is more than capable to execute its expansion strategy by taking on more debt. Over the past 5 years, Protea have added more than 21 outlets while also increasing revenue per outlet. Protea has 4 regional reference laboratories in Jakarta, Medan, Surabaya, and Makassar. These regional reference labs have a centralized ID database on other smaller healthcare clinics. So what this means is any customer can perform tests in the smaller health clinics, and the sample from the smaller clinic will be brought into the regional labs to be evaluated. With this massive regional presence, Protea can open as many outlets as they want, and this business model is called the hub and spoke model. Think of this model as smaller labs that collect samples or tests, which pull it together to send the samples to the central hub or regional lab. This model results in cost efficiencies, right? Because the company can set out more lower cost outlets in under-penetrated region to get more samples and transport the samples over to the main evaluation lab. And these cost efficiencies are evident by improving EBIT margin in the last 5 years. EBIT margin has increased by 5 percentage points. Protea is enjoying a network advantage, in which the more outlets it has, the higher its ability is to be more cost efficient. Protea's capability to serve various customer segments is backed by its ability to offer comprehensive services. But we touched a little bit of this in the introduction. But if you look at their websites, at the breadth of services that they offer, it's just deep. Before we talk about valuation, let's talk about COVID's impact on Protea's financial performance. One of the inherent risks in buying into the stock is the effect of shutdowns caused by PSBB or COVID-19. You have less walk-in customers to do diagnosis unless absolutely necessary, and companies are not hiring. So they have less referrals to send employees over to Protea's labs. First half of 2020 revenues has gone down 17% year over year, while EBIT has decreased a staggering 150% year over year as a result. And the decrease is primarily driven by its second quarter performance, right? Because revenue went down 34% year over year and EBIT plummeted 344% year over year. Now let's talk about valuation. Due to how significant the pandemic's impact is on Protea's operations, we modeled 3 scenarios, which are all based on how quickly or severe Indonesian economy recovers from the virus and how earlier will we get a vaccine. Our base case, where we predict Protea will generate a positive free cash flow by 2022, yields a fair value of 3,400 per share, while our bullish case, or the best case scenario, yields an approximate of 4,000 rupiah, where Protea generates positive free cash flow by the end of next year. And our bearish case is where we think Protea will only generate free cash flow by 2024, yielding 1,500 rupiah per share. So that concludes our investment research on Protea. We hope you enjoy it and you have a lot to take away from this presentation. As always, let us know for any improvements, feedback, or if you'd like us to cover a particular stock. And we'll see you in our next video.